Welcome back to Scratch activity number 6. I hope that you were able to work with your group and complete this subroutine on finding the slope. I hope that yours will work like this. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and complete mine now that you've had a chance to complete yours. So let's see how closely ours resemble each other. Alright, so I've already set my variables x1 and x2 and y1 and y2. I've already determined their value. And I did change in y, so subtracted y1 minus y2. Alright, now keep in mind that it is important that the order you do these is the same. So if we do y1 minus y2, when we compute change in x, then we need to make sure that we do x1 and x2, not the other way around, because that could change the polarity of your answer, whether it's positive or negative. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just repeat this part. Alright, I've found the change in y. Let's, I'm going to, never mind that. I'm going to separate this and duplicate that just to save myself a little time. Add it to that, because I want to do two things. I've done change in y. Let's do change in x now. Alright, and we'll change just a moment. Okay, I apologize. Sometimes it sounds choppy because I have to stop recording because someone will either come in the room or a student will ask a question, something like that. So, what I want to do, though, is change, since now I'm going to work in change in x, instead of y1, I want that to be x1. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. There. I have to make sure the right thing is illuminating. I'm going to get rid of this y2 and put in x2. Because I'm computing the change in x. So up here, just like I did y1 minus y2, I want to do x1 minus x2. And so I've just copied this set of commands. And I'm just going to change them as I need to. So now it says first we need to, in our explanation, first we need to subtract, not y1, but x1 from x2. And not first, I guess I should say. Instead, next, or second. Next, comma, we need to subtract x1 from x2. Or, in other words, let's get rid of the same xy1. We want it to state x1 minus space x2. Notice whenever I just drag something over here, it just erases it. So x2 space equals space, not change in y, but change in x. Alright, oh, this is kind of exciting. This is so cool. And that's what I need to know for slope. I need to have the change in x over change in y. Change in y over change in x. Right? That's how we define slope mathematically. How we define the steepness of a line. So let's see if this works. This is kind of exciting. Now we will compute the slope of this line. The slope is defined as the change in y values over the change in x values. Let us determine the change in y, or the rise. First, we need to subtract y1 minus y2. Or in other words, 3 minus negative 3 equals 6. I guess I should say, so the change in y equals that. Next we need to blah blah blah. Well, it's working. So the change in y is 4. So actually the slope is going to be 6 over 4. So I can see that because of this. So one thing I noticed that I was missing is this block that says, let us determine the change in y. So I need one of those that says, let us determine the change in x. Now, let us determine the change in x, or the run. And we'll do that for 4 seconds. It computes that and then reports it for us. I feel like this could be, the output could look better. But before I move on, I would like to say that you'll notice that I have little explanations off to the side. An important part of programming is that you're able to go back to your work and know what is what, and that other people are able to look at your work and determine what's going on in your coding. And comments are an important part of that. Alright, so the way you add a comment in Scratch is you right click on the block that you want to comment on. So if I want to comment on this subroutine, this block, finding slope, I can just right click on it and add a comment and then explain what this one does. Oops. So right click, add a comment. Alright, let's call it finding slope subroutine. Alright, finding slope subroutine. This subroutine what's the word I'm looking for? Defines, that's it. Defines the variables x1, x2, y1, y2, change in x, and change in y. Pardon me for just... Okay, that was just one of those interruptions that I get. So let's get back in there. Oh, here's another interruption. Hold on. Okay, so let's go back here and finish our comments for this subroutine. So it defines these variables. It also computes the values for these variables to be used in computing the slope of the line. Okay, and then I can just shrink that down. Alright, so now somebody could come into my work and read what's going on here. They say, oh, here's the main code. In fact, what I need to do is go ahead and, after it gets coordinates, then it's going to run the finding slope. So let's go ahead and push that down a little and then have it run finding slope. Alright. So let's see what we have going here. And a lot of times we will use this as a way to debug or check our programming. We can see if the values that we want are going where they need to be. Alright, did I mean that the first x coordinate was 2? Yes, I did. Okay, and so it's setting my variables to the proper values. And when it subtracted y1 minus y2, 3 minus a negative 3, it really is 6. And so the change in y was computed properly also. So once we're finished with the programming, I want to make this look clean for whoever the end user is, whether it's a teacher or a boss that we're working for, our employer. We can uncheck these checkboxes, and these will go away. So if I don't want it to reveal my secrets to the user, I can say, let's just not show the people these values. But it's good to have those there while you're writing and running your program, just so that you can double check your work and make sure everything is going as planned. So, okay, so we've gathered our data, we've gathered our point coordinates. We're using those point coordinates in the list and to establish variables, define variables, and compute what we need for the slope, the change in y over the change in x. Now we just need it to report that. It's got the change in y and it's got the change in x. So let's have it talk about that. Okay, let's have it. In fact, I think I'll write a different subroutine for that. Just because I like writing subroutines. So I'm going to push this subroutine over here and kind of get it out of the way. Right, so I'm going to have a lot of my work over there. What I want to do now is go back up here, and I'm going to create another subroutine and call it reporting the slope. Or, let's just call it that. Reporting the slope. So we've got finding the slope and reporting the slope. Let's be consistent here. Reporting slope. Right? So how I want it to do that is after it determines those things, we want it to say, alright, let's have them say the slope is defined in a few different ways. It could be, it could say the first way is a fraction. Slope is defined in a few different ways. The first way is a fraction. So let's do that. Let's say alright. I'm going to grab some of those join. Where are they? Here we are. Let's grab a few of those. Because we're going to report some variables here. We just want to join them all together here. And I just haven't found a better way to do it yet. So we want to say that the change in y over the change in x would be this fraction, colon space. Right, now, how do I want it to report that fraction? I want it to say first it's going to be change in y. Okay, it's going to be change in y. And then I want to put the fraction bar, which in our computers is just a slash. So I put space slash space. Oops. I always forget this part. Let's move that over. Okay. I have to use these joins. Here I'm going to put space slash backslash or slash, I guess it is, slash space change in x. That is going to give us that fraction. Watch this. This is just so cool. And I am pretty proud of this. In fact, I'll show that for 6 seconds just so I can look at it and be proud. Alright, the slope is defined in a few different ways. The first is a fraction, first way of a fraction. The change in y over the change in x would be this fraction, 6/4. Isn't that cool? Oh, that wasn't 6 seconds, was it? That wasn't long enough for me to enjoy my work. Let's try 8 seconds. Alright, and how could I make that better? Just be a little more impressive to my teacher that I want to show this. First way is a fraction. The change in y over the change in x would be this fraction. Okay. Good. So let's have him say the slope then. The slope of the line is, and let's see here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it, put that back here. The slope of the line is, and then I'm going to say, oh, and you know what? I just thought of something too. Slope is the letter that we use to determine or to denote slope in mathematics is m. So we could say m space equals space 6/4. Now, of course, we probably should figure out how to reduce the fractions, but 6/4, which reduces to 3/2, is still a legitimate slope. Just 3/2 is easier to think about and to use. And so many times, our teachers want us to reduce fractions if possible. So let's look at this. I'm excited. Alright, the slope is defined in a few different ways. The first way is a fraction. The change in y over the change in x would be this fraction, 6/4. The slope of the line is m equals 6/4. Yes, that's pretty sweet. That makes me feel like a mathematician, I'll tell you what. So, let's get rid of that. Now we could also, and we'll need to define the slope as a decimal too, because fractions are just another way to represent a decimal. If we divide those fractions, then we will get a decimal. Let's we should probably create another variable that tells us the slope. So we don't want to get that confused with slope decimal. Alright, so I'm going to say slope decimal. And let's set our slope decimal equal to, well, we know what it is. It's change in y divided by change in x. So we better get our division operator. And let's do that. Change in y over change in x, and it will actually compute that for us. Alright, so we've got that new marker over here, this variable block. So let's report that. Let's see what it tells us. Alright, the slope is defined in a few different ways, because once it gets down here, it's going to actually compute it and put it in this box. The first way is a fraction. Change in y over the change in x would be 6/4. Now 6/4 is 3/2, which is 1.5, which is going to be 1.2. 1.5. So the decimal is going to be 1.5. There it is, 1.5. And we should also say, let's duplicate that, put it under here, and let's say that m equals just the slope decimal. And so should I put that there? And equals slope decimal. Yeah. So we could report it in fraction form, where it just takes that change in y and change in x and doesn't do the computation division for us. And then one where we do the actual division, get the decimal number, and report it that way too. The first way is a fraction. The second way is decimal form. Let's say another way. Another way is in decimal form. Decimal form. My goodness. Doesn't this make you feel smart? This is great. I love this mathematics. First way is a fraction. Just a moment. I just want to finish this, and then I'm going to stop and answer a question. So the slope of the line is 6/4. There's our fraction. It's an improper fraction. And then another way is decimal form, and equals 1.5. Beauty, beauty, beauty. I'm very proud of that. Okay, I'm back again. Sorry for that interruption. But this is really exciting. I'm looking at some of the work that you guys are doing, and it's really good. I hope that this is going to help you understand your math better and show what you know mathematically. Oops, another interruption.
Okay, so let's kind of wrap this one up here. We have done a lot of work. I'm going to get rid of this unneeded block here. And we should clean things up. We've got different subroutines here, and I want to get those to where they're easy to see and get to. Alright, so we've got our main code here. It's going to do get coordinates first. It's going to have us input our XY coordinates for 2 points. Then it's going to go to the finding slope subroutine, where it's going to compute the slope for us and print that out. I guess I could push this down here. Alright, so we can look at it. So it's going to define and set the values of the variables x1, x2, y1, y2, and then find the change in y by subtracting the y's and telling us what that is, and then finding the change in x, which is x1 minus x2, and telling us what that is. Alright, so that's our finding the slope. And then we have built this third subroutine of reporting the slope. This one talks about how to report to the user, the teacher, exactly what the slope is. So we've got finding slope, get coordinates, finding slope, and reporting the slope. Alright, everything all nice and neat. I need to add a comment in here explaining that this subroutine, and you know what, I'm going to call it subroutine 3, and then and that's called reporting slope. Reporting slope. This subroutine takes the values of change in x and change in y, and reports out the slope values in the slope value in fraction form and decimal form. Is that all it does? Let's go back and see if there's anything else important. No, slope of the line is in fraction form. In fact, let's put this, reports out the slope, and what I would like it to say is that the slope we're reporting as m, the slope value in fraction form and decimal form. Alright, so subroutine 3, so we know that that's our third one here. And we should, I want to change this one. Hey. Subroutine, get coordinates, so let's call this subroutine 1. I'll just get these ideas, because that's going to show up there. And so later I think I would want to reorder these, and then this one up here, or I guess it's down here, is going to be subroutine 2. Subroutine 2 space. There. That makes it kind of easier. Subroutine 1, 2, and 3 we'll throw down here. Let's put 1, 2, and 3. Alright, that works for now. Once we're ready to turn it in, we'll put everything in order, get rid of the unused blocks, and make sure that it's all nice and neat for the teacher to look at, or anybody to look at our work and determine what is exactly going on here. Okay. So we have got the coordinates, we've found the slope, reported the slope, and that is a big chunk of work. You should be very proud of that. To show understanding of the slope of the line is a big part of where we're going with this. So in the next lesson we will talk about what it means for the line to cross the y-axis, called the y-intercept. Okay, and how to compute and report that. So, good luck. I'd like for you to create the subroutine of reporting slope. Make sure that your finding slope is complete. That you have also completed the x values, the change in x, in your finding slope routine. So, good luck to you and happy programming. I think you guys are going to be great mathematicians. I'm very proud. Have a good day.